everybody. Welcome to the Leader Lab. This is Leadership Shorts, quick thoughts to help you level up your leadership. My name is Chad Wright. I'm the founder of Forward Partners. I am joined by my partner in podcasting who never thought she would podcast, but here we are, Emily Grace Deal. Emily, what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about how you can be busy every single day, but not feel like your business is moving forward.
Yeah.
So how can you go beyond that level of busy?
Man, that is so hard to do. I have been in that position before where, gosh, and in fact, if we go back to like hard moments in life and maximum burnout that I experienced, it's funny how much of it was this. It was like, man, I am working 15, 16, 20 hours a day, every week.
Yeah.
And yet not actually getting
how do I feel like I'm just still in the same spot I was at?
100%. I could look at the task list every day and look, I got all this done, and yet the business was not progressing.
Yeah.
And I think there's two sides to this. One is going to be the practical side of what lands on our list, what we choose to do. And the other side is the mindset side. So let's start with the practical side. So we talked a little bit about this way back in episode 18. Hard to believe we're already on 32, but way back in episode 18, we talked about how do we say yes and no to certain things.
Yeah.
And so if you haven't listened to that, go back and listen to it. Go back and watch it. I think there's some valuable stuff in there, some frameworks we give for how to think about it. But really it comes down to being intentional about what lands on your list in the first place.
Yeah.
Do you ever have those days where it's like, man, I accomplished 1,000 things, and you get to the end of the day and you go, what the hell did I do?
What did I do
all
all
day?
day?
Anything?
Yes. Yeah. It looks like I did a lot,
Yeah.
but did I actually get anywhere? I don't know.
And I think usually that is an indicator that none of the things that landed on that list were truly the important things.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about clouds and dirt. So as a leader, we spend a lot of time on the ground getting things done. We need cloud time. We need time up there to say, hey, where are we going as an organization? What's pushing us forward? How do I need to grow? How does my team need to grow? That's intentional time that has to happen. And so what you're probably seeing there is we're putting a lot of things on our list that they're on the ground, they're in the weeds, but they're not really up in the clouds.
Yeah, if all you're doing is checklist things or task list things every day, then that stuff is not going to come on its own. You're not just going to magically get some cloud time at the end of the day, because every day is going to fill with tasks if all you have is tasks.
It is, and I think that's where I got trapped. Was I never went up in the clouds. I could not see where are we going 2 years from now, 5 years from now, because all I could see was my task list. I was just on the ground, just buried by it. And I think that's true of a lot of us. And so some of the things that needed to land on the list about cloud time and the future never happened.
Yeah, it's like evaluating those priorities.
Yeah.
Well, okay, what is the most important here? And how can we do these things? And who's good to do those other things? That's where that framework for yes and no comes involved. Because it's like, okay, who's actually the best to do this? Am I the best person to do this? Or is there somebody else out there who could probably do it, and then I could have some more cloud time because of it?
Yeah. And that really, so the framework from 18 was, do I have the capacity for this? And am I the right person for this? And I think this aspect adds a third question, which is, will this move you closer to your goals?
Yeah.
So when you're thinking about putting something on your list, does it actually move you closer to that future? Or is it just on the ground, got to get this done today? It's just a short-term thing.
Yeah.
And we just have to kind of look at that balance on our list. Is there time to figure out the future? Or am I just so focused on surviving today?
Yeah.
And that's where we get stuck. And so that's the practical piece of it, is judging what are we putting on there and what are we not. The next piece, I think, really is mindset. I think we can get trapped because we look at our to-do list and how much we checked off as a measure of our worth.
Yeah.
And that was something I really hit on the other day. I had an Enneagram 3, not Danny. Danny is an Enneagram 3, but not Danny specifically, who's the achiever, right? The task-driven, got to get a lot done. And what I told him was a task list it's a tool for productivity. It is not a measure of your value. And I think that's what traps us as we go, the more I get done, the more valuable I am.
Well, I think that one of the bad outcomes of that is you start to get rid of things like rest, because that does not seem as productive.
It doesn't seem productive.
Because you're like, that can go. Yeah. That's not, it doesn't have as much weight as these other things that are clearly more important, because there's something that I can go do actively. Well, so that's important too. Like, you have to give the same value. So.
You know, rest and cloud time kind of fall into the same category of, this will benefit me in the future. So cloud time is like, yeah, I need to figure out where we're going 2 years from now. 2 years from now seems like a long way.
And you're like, this is way more important. I have a task list for today.
It feels good. It really, there's a dopamine hit that comes from that.
Yeah.
You ever complete a task, realize it wasn't on your list, add it to your list just so you can check it off? Are you that person?
Okay, I have to sit and make a list today.
Yes.
Okay, what have I done today so far? Let me add all of those things on here.
Yes.
Look, I'm halfway done.
Yes, I have been that person, and we're ultimately, when we do that, we're measuring our value with it.
Yes.
And that's what traps us in that. And so I think really we have to stop using busyness as a measure of success. And a lot of this goes back to the conversation we have all the time where we meet somebody, hey, how you doing? Oh, we're busy.
Yeah.
And I think we've
that
started
hallway pass of
100%. We're busy. And I've started defaulting to, okay, is that a good thing? And it's funny how often people pause and kind of go, I don't know.
Yeah, good busy or just like busy for busy's sake.
And I think if the answer is I don't know, it's usually a sign we have not been intentional about our list, about the things that we are choosing to take on.
You don't feel genuinely good. It's almost like if you can do things that are more intentional and you can see why you've thought through this process, right? You've thought through, do I have the capacity? Am I the right person? Is this going to move me closer to my goal?
Yeah.
If you've said yes to all those things, then afterwards you're going to feel the value, the actual value of that, and you're going to feel good about it. And then it's not just like, okay, I have to get another one. Okay, I have to find something else to do. Okay, I have another thing on my list. Okay, what else is going on my list? Yeah. Because you're just filling up your list with things to think, because that's what it's holding value, is the amount of the things that you're doing.
Absolutely.
Not the quality of the things that you're doing.
And that's the thing. If I check off 2 things on a list, but they are quality, they are, man, this is going to drive us forward. I know where we're going. That provides a drive and an energy versus checking off 30 things that are, I'm just trying to get this done today because I feel like it has to be done today.
And there are things that you have to do because you don't like it.
Listen,
on the list.
As a guy who just wants to live in the clouds and dream about the future, I get it. There are things on the ground we need to do. But I think we just default to that. And again, like everything else, we want to be conscious. We want to be making choices,
so
not
just
letting
throwing
things
everything
making
into
choice
the have
for
to
us.
task.
100% really judging that. So leaders, I would just encourage you, if you struggle with that, you're using busy as a measure of value. You're using the task list as a measure of your value. Be way more intentional about what lands on that task list. Make sure there's some long-term thinking, long-term cloud work of where we going somewhere on that list, because that is ultimately what's going to drive you forward. And you're going to see progress for where the organization goes, not just how much you get done in a day. Start to deploy this. It's going to change you. It will ultimately change organizations, right? All right. If anybody wants to send us their questions, their challenges, the things they're wrestling with, where do they send that to?
lab@forwardpartners.net.
lab@forwardpartners.net. If they want to find us online, where we are constantly putting out content and having these conversations, where do they find us?
@forwardpartner.
@forwardpartner.
Yep.
Thank you for doing this, Emily.
Thank you.
Danny, thank you for producing. Wilco Workspaces, thank you for partnering with us. We will see you right back here in the Leader Lab next time for Leadership Shorts.